ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
The Louis T Network is powered by Music Head University. Music Heads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louis T? Welcome to Saturday Night Football overtime. Triple header today. Actually, some good football. We had the two bookend games were outstanding. Well, I lied. I enjoyed the last one because I'm scouting my ass off. Okay. I mean, if you're a Commanders fan, how could you not be in love with what you saw tonight? Every coordinator, every team, every play call is going to have a bad game. And so I saw people hypercritical of Ben Johnson last week after the loss against Chicago. And again, I was unfazed. I know what this guy is. I've been watching him like a hawk for 2 years. I know he grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina. I know he grew up a Washington Redskins fan. It feels like it's destiny. But we'll come back to that. Ass thrashing at the hands of the Lions. Broncos fall to 7-7 on the season, losing tonight 45-17. Meanwhile, we had two other games earlier in the day. Steelers fall again, 3 in a row. This is a Steelers team that at one point was 7-4 and looked like they were in the driver's seat to claim one of those wild card spots. They've fallen on hard times. And, you know, it's funny. Everybody wants to talk about the offense, want to talk about Mitchell Trubisky. I want to talk about this damn defense. That's what I want to talk about. But we'll get to that game. And forget about Pittsburgh. The Indianapolis Colts with Gardner Minshew II is 8-6 under first-year head coach Shane Steichen. Wowzers. We'll talk about that game a little bit later on. We're going to start this show off with the game that started the day off. Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Minnesota Vikings. And the first two games of the day featured backup quarterbacks, 7-6 teams, massive games with huge playoff implications. And the first one was Cincinnati at home taking on the Minnesota Vikings. And I continue to question, how in the hell are the Vikings even here? How are we even talking about a 7-6 Vikings team with a chance to still win their division? It is amazing. Again, I know he's not going to win Coach of the Year. I don't even know if he's going to receive any votes. He should at least get one. And I'm talking of Kevin O'Connell. Okay. The job he has done in Minnesota this year without Justin Jefferson for much of the year, without Kirk Cousins for now going on half of the season, and what he's had to do juggling these quarterbacks and having this offense look competent week after week after week. My guy Black Al B, who's a Vikings fan, told me they got a top 5 defense. Well, they didn't look like a top 5 unit today because the offense did enough with Nick Mullins at quarterback, who threw for over 300 yards. It wasn't enough to win. That's not on the offense. Defense has got to make it. I get it. 2 picks, and they were huge picks, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But you got to make that stand up. You got to make the 24 points. They went down and they scored a touchdown late in the ball game, gave you a touchdown lead at 24-17. You got to make that stand up. You're a top 5 unit. Make that shit stand up. And they didn't. Anyway, let's talk about this game. We'll start with Cincinnati side of things. Jake Browning, man. What more can I say about Jake Browning, man? This guy burst on to the scene Monday Night Football on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars. No one gave Cincinnati a chance. Everybody thought their season was over. Burrow gets hurt on Thursday Night Football the week prior against the Baltimore Ravens, and everybody wrote them off. He looked awful. The following week at home against Pittsburgh, they lose, and everybody just assumed this is how the rest of the season is going to look for Cincinnati. And then he has a 300-yard performance, plays out of his gourd. We think it's a one-off. I said they got a chance to win and make it to the playoffs if he's going to continue to play like that. And all he's done is continue to play like that week after week after week. And thus, they've won 3 in a row now. Another 300-yard performance for Jake Browning. He's acting as if he's back at UW, okay? Like he's playing for the Huskies again. And his confidence is swelling. You can see it. I did make one mistake today. I thought that was a bad ball. It was a bad decision because had it not gotten picked off by the defender that picked it off, Harrison Smith was behind him ready to pick it off. And so it was going to be picked off one way or the other. It was a bad decision. It was a bad throw. And the placement on that football was awful. Outside of that throw, though, shit. I mean, Jake Browning can't play much better than he did in this game. And some of them were YOLO balls, right? The one at the end to T. Higgins to tie the game. That's a YOLO ball. But you can throw that YOLO ball when you got a 6'4" receiver on the other end that can go up and go get it for you and make a play, right? In one-on-one coverage, I may add. It's not like he threw it into double coverage blindly and said, please help me. He threw it up and knowing it was one-on-one with a guy that he trusts to go get the football for him and make a play, and he did. But Browning has been a calming influence on this offense. He's come in, he's run Zach Taylor's scheme to perfection. He's not Joe Burrow, obviously, but they're operating as if Joe Burrow is still in the lineup, which is crazy because of what Burrow has been. And it's led people to say, is Joe Burrow a system quarterback? Hell no. I mean, we saw what Joe Burrow did at LSU, right? We know he's immensely talented. He was the #1 overall pick. He's gone to the Super Bowl. I can assure you this. Jake Browning isn't taking his team to the AFC Championship game, nor the Super Bowl, okay? So we can stop that conversation right now. But what he can do, and what I think he ultimately will do, is he'll take this team to the playoffs, okay? He's capable of doing that. And that's the sign of a quality backup quarterback, is that you don't fall off of a damn cliff when you lose your starting quarterback. If the team around that quarterback is still good and intact, and they lost Jamar Chase today to a AC joint sprain, and those are some bitches, okay? Because all that means is that thing is sublux and it's popping in and out of the joint, and that shit is painful. And he could be out 2 to 4 weeks. He could play and then get hit, and the shit can come right back out again, and it's just a painful deal. So that's a tough blow down the stretch of the season, because with Chase and Higgins and Boyd all available, with the tight end position all of a sudden coming to life. And we talked about this when Burrow started to get his shit going, that we saw the tight end positions. That Buffalo game was the one where we said, wait a minute. They're starting to get contributions out of Wilcox and, Sample and Irv Smith Jr. Wait a minute. What's going on right now? They're starting to get something from these tight ends. If this happens with all the receivers that they have, with Joe Mixon playing the way he's playing, with them now all of a sudden discovering that, oh, yeah, we did draft Chase Brown and he can play. They got weapons for days. This is a hard offense to stop. And, you take Jamar Chase out of it, and it scales some of that back a bit. But they still got a ton of weapons that they can get the football to. The run game has been very effective. Chase Brown has given them a lift and a boost. With him coming on strong here the last, couple of weeks or so, with him getting more and more opportunities and making the most of those opportunities. So there's a lot to like here. And Jake Browning is just, he ain't the captain of the ship, but he ain't the captain of the yacht, but he's on the boat. Right. And so he's just managing shit, man. I like what Jake is doing. He's not playing outside of himself. He's not playing outside of the offense. He's doing just enough athletically to extend plays, just like on the T. Higgins play. That's an extender play, right? That's an extendo clip, and he makes it happen. He's doing just enough with his legs. He's being just good enough in the pocket, and he's being cerebral enough when he's given time to deliver. And that throw to Tyler Boyd at the end in overtime to put them in the field goal range, that's a dime. I mean, that's great coverage. That's not like, Tyler Boyd is 3 yards of separation. That's a extendo clip. Boyd is kind of, slow playing it across the field, doesn't think he's going to get the ball, still running. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh shit, he still got the ball and he's looking at me and the ball's coming. And he throws it and that defender dives and that ball just misses his fingertips and goes into the hands of Tyler Boyd. That's a hell of a throw to set it up. And so Jake Brown is playing his ass off. You got, somebody said to me earlier, I'm tired of watching all these backup quarterbacks. I think these backups are doing a damn good job. I don't know what you're watching, okay, but I'm watching these backups come in here, and the drop-off is not significant. Not like you normally see when backup quarterbacks hit the field. Like, we're seeing some good shit from these backup quarterbacks. Gardner Minshew is playing good football this season. Jake Browning is playing his ass off. And it seems to not matter who the hell the Vikings put in their first 2 or 3 starts. They're playing really well, too. Now, eventually, Nick Mullins is going to Nick Mullen, and he did it in this game. I mean, he literally threw a pick off his own ass. I threw a pick off my own ass. My own ass. Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Nick. We're aware, okay? Nick Mullins is going to Nick Mullins, but he also threw for over 300 yards and threw a go-ahead touchdown with less than 5 minutes to go in the game. They were set up to win. And the defense, the top 5 defense that I was told by the Black Al B, didn't get the stop when they needed it. Just like they didn't get the stop when they needed it against Chicago. After the offense, I know it was late and it wasn't great, but the offense gave them the lead. Just get a stop against Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears offense, who had at that point only scored 9 points. Just get a stop. They couldn't do it. So this defense is letting them down, right? At the end of the day, hats off to Cincinnati. Hats off to Jake Browning. Hats off to Zach Taylor. Hats off to that group for continuing to fight despite losing your leader in Joe Burrow. We left them for dead a month ago when Joe Burrow got hurt on Thursday Night Football against the Baltimore Ravens. We left them for dead. The next week, Jake Browning comes in, doesn't play well, loses to Pittsburgh, and we're thinking, that's it. 3 weeks later, 3 wins later, they're sitting at 8-6, and they're right smack dab in the middle of the AFC wildcard playoff chase. And if the playoffs started today, they'd be in, and they're going to be hell to deal with. Whomever, if they get in, obviously there's still 3 more weeks of football left, and they still got some work to do. But if they get in, they're going to be a hell of a team because they've got playoff pedigree. They've been here before. They know what it takes. They're not going to be an easy out. Big win for Cincinnati. This is a huge game for both teams. Like, Minnesota still had a shot at the division. Had they won out, they would have won the division. Obviously, it would have taken a sweep of Detroit. They've got them 2 out of the next 3 weeks. I don't know how the hell they would have accomplished that with their situation being what it is, but the fact that we were even having a conversation about this game, I didn't think this would come to this. I didn't think they would even be in this game. I thought they were going to lose by 2 scores. I didn't think they were going to get blown out. I just thought they would lose this game like 27-17 with Nick Mullins at quarterback. The fact that they had the lead with under 5 minutes to go, with under a minute to go, they had the lead in this game. And ultimately losing overtime. And when you go back, and let's talk about Minnesota now. They're now 7-7 on the season. This is a big loss for them. I still think they're one of the teams that you have to, like, I want to dismiss them so bad because I look at their quarterback position and I'm like, there's no way we should be talking about Minnesota here as a playoff team. But every week, Kevin O'Connell, give him credit, continues to have this team prepared to play no matter who's under center. And I'm just amazed at how this team responds to whomever is there. And the fact that Nick Mullins comes in, plays the way that he does, throws 2 interceptions, and you're still up by a touchdown with under a minute to go in this game is absolutely fascinating to me. I mean, if you watch this game, it's 14-3 in the second quarter. The Vikings are dominating, and they turn it over. Nick Mullins throws a pick to Mike Hilton at the goal line. If this doesn't happen, they're probably on the verge of blowing the Cincinnati Bengals out of this game. Nick Mullins throws another pick when they, have a chance to seize control of this game. They had some back-breaking turnovers. They were in Cincinnati Bengals territory on both of those turnovers. In scoring position on both of those turnovers. Those turnovers changed the game. And then obviously the final possession of the game offensively for Minnesota, they can't get the tush push or the brotherly shove to work 2 plays in a row. 2 plays in a row. All they needed was a field goal and they win. So the Vikings had every opportunity to win this game, and Nick Mullins somehow does the Nick Mullins thing, right? Bad interception to Mike Hilton, and then somehow he throws an interception off the face mask of BJ Hill, off his own ass, and then Hill bobbles it and catches it on the ground. And you're saying to yourself, what in the hell just happened just now? What are we doing right now? Seriously, don't do that, Nick. But that's who he is. You can't tell me that when you look at Nick Mullins, he doesn't look terrified every time. Like, and it's not a terrified, like, oh shit, I'm going to crap my pants, I'm so nervous. It's the, oh shit, I'm so nervous, I'm hyperventilating, and I'm out of breath. His mouth is always open. He always looks like he's surprised, or like the most stoic panic you've ever seen. Like, he's always like, Nick, calm down. I know your heart's probably racing. Close your mouth. All right. Breathe. It's okay. Right. But he didn't play poorly in this game. He gave them a fighting chance. And again, I can't reiterate this enough. They had the lead with under a minute to go. They had the lead. They scored the go-ahead score with 5 minutes to go in this game. And they turned the ball over to the defense and said, hey, they turned the game over to the defense and said, hey, we did what we needed to do. Finish the job. And they couldn't finish the job. That's unfortunate. This is a soul-crushing loss if you're the Vikings, because you did everything in your spirit, your being, to lose this game. The 2 turnovers in Cincinnati territory, the failed, third down attempt at a brotherly shove, the failed 4th down attempt at the brotherly shove, and the subsequent, pass to Tyler Boyd. Hell, the T. Higgins touchdown is improbable, because without that, this game doesn't get to overtime, obviously. And then, the Tyler Boyd catch and run, that's great defense. And somehow he catches it and takes off, right? So you had your chances. You got nobody to blame but yourself in this game. You make those types of mistakes on the road, you can't expect to win, right? And it just caught up with you, unfortunately, in a manner that is just, like I said, soul-crushing, because you were this close to being 8-6. And at 8-6 in the NFC, that shit almost feels like a guaranteed playoff spot at this point, with all the 6-7 teams and all the 5-8 teams vying for spot. Like, it's 8-6. Are you kidding me? That's damn near punching a ticket in the NFC back into the conference, right? So you missed the golden opportunity to really separate yourself and create distance from the rest of these mediocre ass teams, which you are a part of, where you had a chance to separate yourself from the rest of the mediocre teams. Now you're right back in the mix with all the rest of the 6-7 teams who have a chance to climb to 7-7, the 5-8 teams that have a chance to climb to 6-8 and put themselves a game behind you. You've opened up the door for a lot of teams that you could have pushed further to the brink of elimination, right? So it's a missed opportunity if you're Minnesota. But again, you're still right there. Amazingly enough, you're still 7-7, and you're right there in the mix in the NFC. No matter what happens, the Rams are probably going to win. The Packers have a chance to beat the Bucs. Somebody's going to leave that game, that Bucs-Packers game, at 7-7. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're still right where you need to be. You lost to Tampa Bay earlier this season, so you're probably rooting for Green Bay in that game. You've already beaten the Packers in Green Bay, if I'm not mistaken. I think you have them once more at home. So you're probably rooting for Green Bay in that game, is my guess. But doesn't matter. You're still going to be right where you need to be, right? But just that missed opportunity, that's got to gnaw at you if you're the Minnesota Vikings. You go to the next game, and man, the Pittsburgh Steelers are just a train wreck right now. And I have so much to say about them, but we're going to start with the 8-6 Indianapolis Colts. First of all, who saw this coming this season? I mean, I loved Shane Steichen in Philadelphia last year. I thought he was the heart and soul of that offense in terms of the play calling and They did some really creative shit last year, and you're seeing it in Indianapolis. Their offense is hard to stop. It's amazing because Gardner Minshew in Philadelphia last year couldn't bust a grape. I mean, they had to rush Jalen Hurts back last year because Minshew had lost 2 in a row, and they had to claim the division, and they didn't trust Minshew to do it. They had to rush Hurts back just to make sure that they won the division in Week 18 against the Giants, right? And that even wasn't pretty and clean. And then he goes to Indy to be the backup, and you're not expecting much. And when you see Richardson go down, you're thinking, well, their season just went down with it, even though you weren't expecting much from Richardson. And I can tell you this right now, and I feel very confident in saying this. A healthy Richardson, the Colts aren't anywhere near 8-6 right now. Nowhere near 8-6. That's not the point, though. You would much rather have the young fella getting experience and playing and hopefully playing well, even though the wins may not be coming and it may not translate into dubs. You would much rather be getting that experience for your young quarterback because he's the future. Gardner Minshew is not. However, this is fun. As a Washington Commanders fan, the roller coaster rides that we went on with Taylor Heineke the 2 previous years were fun. You knew it wasn't really going to take you anywhere of note. You already knew what it was. You knew eventually this ride is going to end. You hope that it ends in the playoffs. It did it for us. Hopefully it does for you. Still got a lot of work to do because unlike the NFC where there aren't any 8-6 teams as wild cards, there's a plethora of teams at 7-6, and there are going to be a bunch of 8-6 teams at week's end. So you're fighting for your life over there. But as you continue to find ways to win, it's been impressive to watch this team. Michael Pittman Jr. gets knocked out of this game with a hit by DeMonte KZ. You have your running back who was really carrying the load when JT was out. Moss get hurt in this game, and there's no JT in this game. He's out. He might be back next week, if not definitely the week after that. So now you got Goodson at running back, and you got Trey Sermon in, and you still run for 40, 50, 60, 70 yards in this game, and destroy and devour the Steelers. There's a drive in the game, 14 plays, all runs. You eat up like 7 minutes of the clock, and you kick a field goal. Like, I've been so impressed with Indianapolis this season. The defense is solid. It's not great, but it's good enough. The offense is fresh. It's innovative. It's creative. It keeps you on your toes. Minshew's running it. He's hard to wrangle, right? Like, Minshew's dipping in and out of the pocket. He's dodging. He's weaving. He's bobbing. He's doing all kinds of crazy shit. Then he finds a receiver. None of these guys scare you, but they're all good enough to get you. That's the Colts, man. It's just the Colts, right? And Shane Steichen, again, much like I said with Kevin O'Connell, he's not going to win Coach of the Year, but damn it, he should get some votes. Just like Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans should get some votes, right? At least one. I mean, the job that these 2 AFC South coaches are doing is just off the charts. I mean, who had Indianapolis at 8-6? I mean, it's incredible what they're doing right now. They start off this game rough, 13-0. They get a punt blocked. They give up a touchdown. They're down big early at home to a Steelers team that had been struggling to score, and all of a sudden it's 13-0. And I'm thinking this is the game where the Steelers get their shit together defensively. They put the clamps down on Gardner Minshew. They force him to turn it over 2 or 3 times, and they win this thing, 27-9 or 27-13, something like that, where they reestablish themselves as a playoff contending team right in time for Kenny Pickett to come back. That's where it's trending. And then the Colts scored 30 unanswered points and put that shit to bed, right? So this Colts team is just fascinating to me because I didn't see this coming. I didn't see this being sustainable with Gardner Minshew. And they continue to have injuries. They continue to shuffle guys in and out of the lineup. Who the hell is Montgomery at receiver? Yes, he dropped a touchdown on a 4th down that he should have caught. But then he comes back the next possession, catches a big one on a 3rd down, and then catches another one for the touchdown. Like, who the hell is Montgomery? They just got these guys out of nowhere, right? Goodson and Sermon and Montgomery and Ogletree and Mo Alley Cox. And we know Mo Alley Cox. He's been around for a while, but still, Colin Granson, and like, it's just a bunch of ragtag guys, right? It's a ragtag group of dudes that you wouldn't put on your team, right? You wouldn't want them on your roster, but they're getting it done for the Indianapolis Colts. It's just crazy. They're like an underdog, like just the biggest underdog you could look like, the bad news bears. You just don't expect them, because you look at their roster, you look at the list of guys, you're like, can't lose to these dudes. And then they go out and they put up 27 points. You're like, what the hell just happened? How did we let Gardner Minshew throw 2-3 touchdown passes? How did we let Montgomery and Mo Alley Cox and Trey Sermon and Goodson and all, how did we let these dudes do us? I don't know, man. I wish I had an answer for you, but I truly don't know. But they continue to find ways to get it done. I keep counting them out because I'm like, this can't be real life. Like, this can't be happening. It's Gardner Minshew. It's the Indianapolis Colts. I just listed the guys that were key contributors tonight. You don't know any of them. This can't keep happening. Someone's going to end this fairy tale. And it just keeps going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. It's amazing. They're 8-6. I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I can't fathom Gardner Minshew leading this Indianapolis Colts team. I just can't see it. Yet, here they are. I still got the Bills making the playoffs. Somebody's got to get out because Buffalo's coming. I've already told you how I feel about the Bills. I told you this before the Chiefs game last week. I'm standing on business with the Bills. Somebody's got to go. It's Indianapolis. They can't make the playoffs. They can't. And Cincinnati beat them last week, and that's going to be the difference there because Cincinnati's getting in. But it's a hell of a story. And it's going to come down to, maybe the final week of the season. I'm just totally taken aback by the fact that the Indianapolis Colts are where they are right now. And it's a hell of a coaching job that they're doing. Hats off to them. On the other side, boy. Steel City is probably out here saying, see. I told you, see. I hear you, man. I hear you. This was so maddening. I picked the Steelers for one. So there was a vested interest, but this goes beyond that. This was really frustrating to watch because this has been building with me, in particular with the Steelers team, for the last 3 weeks now. Arizona, then New England, now this game, because what was the calling card of the Steelers the first 11 games of the season when they were 7-4, off to that start, looking like a playoff team, finding ways to win? What was the calling card? They had two, actually. What were the two calling cards? We're going to play outstanding defense, and we're going to complement it with excellent special teams. Don't know what we're going to get out of the offense. Just don't turn it over. Don't put us in any compromising positions, and special teams and defense will do the rest. That's been the formula all season long, okay? That's what it's been. And it's amazing now because Kenny Pickett is no longer in the lineup, and he was coming off the best game of the season for himself, and all of a sudden they thought, oh, here he comes, right? Nah. It's funny because we say that. They still scored, 16, 17 points against the Bengals in that game? They didn't score a bunch of points. I know that much. Yeah, the offense exploded for over 400 yards of total offense. What did it amount to, though? 17, 20 points? I don't know. It wasn't a lot. But at the end of the day, no matter who's that quarterback, Kenny Pickett, they put in Mason Rudolph today, but it's Mitchell Trubisky. It doesn't matter. The offense is still doing the same shit it's been doing all season long. So don't talk to me about the Steelers offense. I don't really want to hear about. Look, I said I had a sit down heart to heart with Mitchell Trubisky. I said, Mitchell, sit down. He's like, nah, I'm cool. I'm gonna stand. I said, Mitchell, sit your ass down. Not playing with you. Sit down. He's like, okay. I said, I'm trying to keep you in the league getting a check, bro. Do you not want to just stand on somebody's sideline, getting a nice, handsome salary? Bro, I'm not asking you for much. Just don't embarrass yourself out here, man. Just look confident. Somebody will give you an opportunity. The Steelers want to hold on to you for the next 7 years. Give them a reason. And he went out there and he pissed all over his leg again today. And I'm like, Mitchell. Mama named him Mitchell. I'm going to call him Mitchell. What you doing, bro? Come on. Pat Frymuth is open over the middle of the field on third down. Come on, bro. What are we doing? It was hard to watch, but that's the Steelers offense. And it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. This is what they do. You know what the difference has been on this 3-game losing streak against two of the worst teams in the league, and then Indianapolis in this game with a 13-point lead? You want to know what the difference is? This damn defense. What in the hell has happened to this defense? All anybody wants to talk about is the offense. The offense has been ass. You change coordinators, it's the same shit. Offense still is trash. You were winning games with a trash-ass offense all season long. You hadn't outgained any opponent for the first 9-10 weeks of the season, and you won 6 out of those 9 games or whatever it was. Miss me with the offensive talk. The offense has been ass all season. The difference was the defense was forcing turnovers. And a lot of times they said, don't worry about it. We got it. We're not even going to ask God to score off this turnover. We'll take the shit in the end zone ourselves because we don't trust y'all with the shit. The defense was forcing turnovers. They were getting stops. They were forcing teams to punt. They were keeping the score low, and they were giving their offense and the special teams a chance to make enough plays to win the game. And that's how they were winning games. And all of a sudden, when you looked at the schedule and you said, this is the perfect opportunity for us to win the games the way that we win games, which is special teams, defense, and timely offense. That's how you're supposed to beat Arizona. That's how you're supposed to beat New England. And your defense craps the bed in 2 straight games against 2 of the worst teams in the league. That's where the conversation should be. Not Mitchell Trubisky, not this lackluster offense that's been ass all season long. The conversation should be, hey, what happened to the damn defense? What happened to the defense that was smothering teams earlier this season? I don't know. Stop asking. Where was the TJ Watt strip sack fumble of Gardner Minshew? I don't know. All I know is this defense has been disgusting the last 3 weeks. Absolutely disgusting. You let Bailey Zappi scorch you for 3 first-half touchdowns a week ago. You let James Conner come back to Pittsburgh and have a party on the ground in a nasty, rain-soaked, wet day, destroy you single-handedly by himself on the ground, and then you let Kyler Murray just sprinkle in a couple of throws. And then you let Gardner Minshew and a cast-off of characters that, frankly, I don't know if these dudes even belong in the league, to keep it a buck with you. You take them off of the Colts roster. I don't know if they're on anybody's active roster, maybe the practice squad. And you let these boys do you for 30. Unanswered. Yes, it'd be nice if the offense for the Steelers did something to break up the monotonous, Colts getting the football, moving it down the field and producing points, right? It'd be nice if the offense gave the defense something to work with, but they should be used to not having anything to work with. You were up 13-0. Make it stick. Instead, you give up 30 unanswered points. And again, be nice if the offense helps you. They haven't been helping you all season long. You've been helping yourself. So do that. How about Tomlin's decision? Down 24-13. And I literally can't make this shit up. I'm sitting there with my wife. We're watching the game, and they took the penalty, right? It would have been like 4th and 4. And the Steelers would have to settle for a field goal. There's a holding penalty, clear holding penalty on Dan Moore. You see it I saw it live, and I'm like, they might get away with this. I didn't see the flag, but I'm like, damn, that's holding. You could see it right in clear as day in the corner of the picture. And they called him. They caught him. And they called it. And it's holding. And the Colts did the right thing. This is a stinking ass Steelers offense. They're not picking up. Yes, earlier in the drive, I think that was the one where it was like 3rd and 20. And, Mitchell Trubisky scrambles up into the pocket, finds Deontay Johnson on the right sideline for like 21 yards or whatever, 24 yards. That's not who they are. I think that was their first big gain of the game, right? That's not who they are. So move them back, make it 3rd and 14, and dare them to do it again. And the only thing I told my wife is they cannot take a sack. Can't take a sack because now you're on the fringe of Chris Boswell field goal range. And it's not like Boswell has the biggest leg in the world, but it is indoors. But let's not force Boswell. Let's not force Tomlin to have to make a decision on a 58-yard Chris Boswell field goal. 53, 50, yeah, we're sending him out there for that. 58, 59, I still would have sent his ass out there. Boswell thought he could make it. Clearly, he was on the damn field. He had confidence that he could make the shit. And then he called him off the field and said, nah, we're going to punt this bitch. And I said, Tomlin, come here, man, Mike. And, a wise man once told me, never trust a brother that chews tobacco. We don't do that shit. Never trust a brother that chews tobacco. And I went against my gut, and I'm like, Mike, bro, what are we doing here? See, the Steelers defense from 2 months ago, yeah, punt that bitch. Pin them. Because you're going to get a stop, and you can get the ball back, and you'll get great field position, and we're going to be right back in this same spot with a chance to score. This brother punts the ball as if they've been getting stops defensively all night. You ain't had a stop since the first quarter, bro. You need these points. You need to stop the bleeding. You're hemorrhaging blood right now. Kick this damn field goal. Whether you make this shit or not, guess what? They're going to drive the ball on your ass. You ain't stopping shit. So just kick the field goal. What you got to lose? He punts. It's not a great punt. It's a 22-yard punt. Shit goes straight up, comes straight down. You gained 22 yards of field position. Whoop did he effing do? And you know what the Colts did? They drove the bitch right down the field. Any goddamn way, got a field goal. It's what you do when you're struggling, right? That's what you do. You do the thing that you're familiar with. And Tomlin is used to just punt the football in that situation, play defense, and we'll make a play, right? That's what he's used to. That's what he's accustomed to seeing happen. And the shit ain't happening right now. This defense is going to shit. And I can't explain why. Hell of a performance by the Colts, though. And to be down 13 at home, to not flinch, to not blink, and to run off 30 straight and win, going away, that's impressive. Hell, they could have folded after the drop touchdown on 4th and goal by Montgomery, and then the Steelers ended up getting out of the shadow of their own end zone and moving it out to the 30. They could have folded right then and there. That's a huge chain of events, right? It's a huge turn of events. You go from about to take the lead 14-13 to now still down 13-7. You got them pinned up against their own 2-yard line, and they get out to the 30. And you could have just said from that point on, oh, shit, and you could have let the rope go. Nope, they didn't do that. Forced the punt, got the football, went right back down the field. This time Montgomery got in the end zone, and you never look back. Big win for Indianapolis. They're now 8-6. Steelers dropped to 7-7, and they're free falling at this point. Free falling. Their shit's done. And I know this is going to prompt Kenny Pickett to rush back to next week. It doesn't matter. You're done. It's over. You lose to Arizona and New England, your shit is finished. Da-da-da. Finish him. You're done. You're done. And then finally, the nightcap. And I enjoyed this shit thoroughly because I'm scouting my ass off over here. I'm salivating at the prospects of getting my hands on Ben Johnson. That's my lead dog in the Washington Commanders head coaching candidacy is Ben Johnson. I'm more so fixated on the GM, right? Because again, that's where it all starts for me. with the players, then the coach, and, you know, all that. But I want that GM to want Ben Johnson. That's what I want, right? And I want this shit to be organic. I don't want it to be forced. I want them to like each other. Like, that's what Detroit has, right? That's what the 49ers have. Like, the successful organizations, for the most, that's what they have. There's unity. There's togetherness. Yes, you disagree, and Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones, and everybody else was like, you got to take Trey Lance. That shit happens. But it all worked out. At the end of the day, it didn't work out for Trey Lance, but they got their guy, right? Man, I love me some Ben Johnson. He put on a show tonight. So did Jared Goff. So did, you know, Sam Laporta. So did, you know, their first round rookie running back, Jahmyr Gibbs. You know, I love all of these dudes. I told you, I thought their draft was ballsy because you're not supposed to take a first round running back, especially if his name's not Bijan Robinson. You can't take a first round running back. And I'm like, I don't F what the hell y'all talking about. And I told y'all this. Jahmyr Gibbs is Alvin Kamara 2.0. Essentially, Alvin Kamara with speed. Because Alvin Kamara is a 4-5 running back. A lot of people don't realize that. He's not a 4-4 dude. Alvin Kamara is a 4-5 running back. But he plays, he's quick, he's got tremendous contact balance, and he's very shifty, great agility, etc., etc. Gibbs has all that in his package, except he's a 4-4 guy. So he can run. He can hit the home run consistently. And I love that they said, yeah, to hell with y'all talk about. We're going to get him. And this was a deep tight end draft class that just passed. And they were like, yeah, we like all these dudes. They could have taken a tight end. They took Jack Campbell at 18 in the first. They could have took the tight end. They could have took Mayer and all those guys that were available. The Bills took a tight end. I don't know if he was available. I think he was still available at that time with the tight end from Utah. They could, nope. They said, we know which one we want and we're good. There's a lot of them in this draft. We'll get one. And they got Sam Laporta. And that Iowa program is a factory at the tight end position. A factory. It started with C.J. Fedorowicz, and they haven't let up since. And not that C.J. Fedorowicz was a beast, but he was a damn good quality NFL tight end, and they've just continued to just manufacture these bad boys. Tight end after tight end after tight end. You're talking Hawkinson, you're talking Fant, you're talking Kittle, and now you're talking about Sam Laporta, and all of these dudes have knocked it out of the park since coming into the league, and Laporta is just on a tear. He's got 9 receiving touchdowns in his rookie season, 3 of them tonight. He can't be stopped. Goff is looking for him. He's delivering in big spots. 2 weeks ago against New Orleans, games on the line. Who did they go to? Sam Laporta, and he delivers. This is what he does. 5 catches combined in the last 2 games for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sound familiar to you? If you're a Commanders fan, that's the shit that we were going through. What did he do, though? What the difference is, what did he do? What did he do? You know what he did? They fed Amon-Ra St. Brown tonight. And for all of you out there, and I'm watching this Lions team, and all I can think about is my Commanders, because I see so many similarities between what they have and what I want us to have, and some of the pieces that we already have in place, and how we can get to what they have, right? Because in my mind, Ben Johnson is the head coach. So in my mind, I'm like, what does Ben Johnson need to be successful in Washington? I look at Jared Goff. I say, I got Jared Goff already on my team, a better version of Jared Goff. And Sam Howell, got that already. Check. Offensive line, I need some work, okay? And for all of you, we got to get MHJ. You see an MHJ on that Lions roster anywhere? Because I don't. They got 1 first-round wide receiver in that group, and he's a minimal contributor at this point in Jameson Williams. Okay? Minimal contributor. I see a 3rd round, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he was 3rd round. Terry McLaurin, 3rd round. I see them as very similar receivers. Terry's just slightly faster. That's it. See them as very similar receivers. We need one of those tight ends. They spent draft capital on that offensive line. Taylor Decker is a first-round pick, top 20 pick, top 15 pick in the draft at left tackle. Penei Sewell, top 10 pick. You know, I don't think he was top 5, but I know he was top 7. I believe 7, might have been 8. Somewhere in there. He's top 10 for sure. So you're booking tackles. Frank Ragnow is a 3rd-round pick out of Arkansas. We got a 3rd-round center out of Arkansas. I don't know if he's any good. Okay. But you see what I'm doing here. We got Sam Cosmi already who can play right guard for us already. So you still need another guard. You're going to have to draft one if you don't feel like that guy's on the roster already. But we have some work to do on the offensive line, clearly. Because Jared Goff, there are times where he's standing back there. That last 4th down of the game where he finds Sam Laporta for the touchdown to make it 42, how long did he stand back there for? Don't ask me. He had to go through at least 7 reads on that play before getting to Sam Laporta for the touchdown. Must be nice. He built an entire chimney for Santa to come down on that play. So we need work on that portion of the offense, clearly, right? But they got a 1-2 punch. They got David Montgomery. We already got B-Rob. He looks like David Montgomery. He plays like David Montgomery. Okay? We just need the speed guy. We don't have that right now. We got to go get one of those. I've been asking for that, and I think we're going to go get one of those this year, right? So I look at their offense, and I'm like, we can do this. That offensive line needs work, though. Clearly, you're not going to do it. At least I don't think you're going to be able to do it in one offseason. But you can take the steps towards doing it this year. And you can put yourself in a position where it's formidable, and you saw the creativity, you saw the balance. There's a 3rd and 9 in this game, and he hands it off out of the gun to Jahmyr Gibbs. And I get it. If you don't get it, you can question it. But who's thinking about run on 3rd and 9? Clearly the Broncos weren't, and they get 10. Now, you notice that wasn't Montgomery because he's not going to capture that edge and beat that defender to the sticks and get the first down. You need somebody with speed to do that. That's why we need the speed guy, right? But I just loved the creativity. I loved how they kept the Broncos defense off. This is the Broncos defense that had been dominating of late, had been suffocating teams, forcing turnovers. Jared Goff threw 5 touchdown passes tonight. 5 touchdown passes. And, you know, let me talk about Jared Goff for a second, because I am not the biggest Jared Goff fan, but you know, I always tell y'all I want to believe in Jared Goff. And every time I reach in my bag and I pull out the Jared Goff, I believe pass to put in my pocket, I'm like, not yet. I'll stick it back in the bag, right? But what we have to understand is, and I think a lot of people, because we see him as a game manager, as Cam Newton said, and he is, because the reason here's what it is. Here's what it boils down to. The reason why we don't respect Jared Goff, even though the man was the number 1 overall pick in the 2016 NFL draft, even though the man was in the MVP discussion in 2018, even though the man has gone to a Super Bowl. Now, they only scored 3 points in that Super Bowl. Even though the man has gone to a Super Bowl, we disregard Jared Goff because he doesn't have any wheels. And at the first sight of trouble or rush, he curls up into that fetal position and prepares himself for impact, for a sack, right? He's not looking to create off schedule. That's not his forte. He can't run. And so if it's not perfect around him, he struggles, right? And I think people are dismissive of him because he needs everything to be damn near perfect around him in order for him to succeed. But I tell you what, when the pocket is clean, or it's clean enough, he's one accurate mother effer. Okay, he's an accurate mofo. Okay, that second Sam Laporta touchdown on that slant. Where else is that ball going to be? I mean, like, you can't go up and hand it to him any better, partner. Like, there's some throws that Jared Goff makes. There was a throw against the Bears on a 4th down, similar to that. Where you go? Damn, Jared. Shit. Like, Jared Goff is accurate. There's a reason he was the #1 overall pick. You can shit on him all you want. But if you give him time, forget about it. Jared's going to put that bitch where it needs to be. He ain't going to miss too often. The problem is, if there is pressure, if shit doesn't go as expected, he's not going to create anything off schedule. And that's why people are reluctant. Me too, myself included. I can't deny this, but I do acknowledge the greatness that is Jared Goff when shit is the way it's supposed to be. There are a lot of quarterbacks in this league that, even with a perfect pocket, still miss passes. Jared Goff ain't missing shit if the pocket is clean. He ain't missing a damn thing. It's when his feet get sped up. It's when his process gets sped up. It's when he's feeling a little bit of pressure. That's when he gets sped up, and that's when shit goes a little, off kilter for him, and it goes awry. But when he's able to set his feet, go through his progressions, you saw the numbers tonight. Less than 2.5 seconds, excellent. More than 2.5 seconds, excellent. You know why? Because the run game was working. They ran for damn near 200 yards tonight. So that means play action fake is working. You understand the first 9 plays of the game were all passes? They didn't run the ball at all to start this game. I was like, hey, Ben, what are we doing here, buddy? What are we doing? You're not going to run the ball at all? He's like, nah, I'm working on some shit. I got this. Don't worry about it. Let me cook. All right. It all worked out for the best. It all worked out. And once Ben got into his bag and they got settled in, they punted like 3 times in the first quarter, and then they didn't punt again until the late stages of the fourth. And it was just touchdown, 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 5 touchdowns in a row before they punted the football. And then they capped it with another touchdown at the end on the 4th and 2. Shit was a clinic. That's the next head coach of the Washington Commanders right there. Was a fan growing up. He waited, and a lot of people were like, oh, he's going to go back to Carolina. He had a chance to go to Carolina this offseason, and he passed. He went back to Detroit. So that tells you how he feels about the Panthers job. He don't want that shit. This is the one he was waiting for. And he knows Sam Howell. He has a rapport with him. He coached him at the Senior Bowl. Bring him home, man. Bring Ben Johnson home. What we doing? Like, tonight was the night. And I saw all of the pieces there, and I said, all we got to do is draft the tackle in the first round. Second round, you got 2 picks, and they can do whatever they want. I say you get the tight end in the second round. You get the defensive end in the second round with those 2 second-rounders, right? And then I think after that, you start focusing in on, if you don't do anything in free agency on the offensive line, and we'll see what they decide to do, right, in free agency, that's when you start targeting the interior of that offensive line, right? Because you already took a tackle. I think you got to bring one of these dudes back, whether it's Cornelius Lucas. Andrew Wiley can't be your starting tackle. We've already acknowledged this. The next group that comes in here has to know this. I don't think this is a thing that we should be discussing. And so either Charles Leno stays at left tackle because he's still got 1 more year left on his deal. You can cut him. You can get the $7.5 million or whatever it is in cap savings if that's the route you want to go. Knock yourself out. You can't fix it all in one offseason. So I don't know if it's worth it to cut Sam or to cut Charles Leno Jr. You draft the tackle. You put him on the right side. If you want to say to hell with Cornelius Lucas, you want to draft the tackle, you want to put him at his natural position, left tackle, and leave him there and let him grow there, then you do that. You just got to find the right tackle. Again, you know how I feel about Cole Luke. I know he's older. I would just put him at right tackle. If you're not going to find a solution on the market, if you're not going to go and spend high draft capital, they say this is a deep tackle draft. Maybe you can find a guy in the 3rd round, and now you got your bookend tackles. Got one in the 1st round, got one in the 3rd round, and you keep it pushing. Maybe you can do that too. But in my mind, my first 3 picks, if I got Ben Johnson, my first 3 picks are tackle, tight end, defensive end. And you can flip the tight end and the defensive end if the value is different. And again, you don't have to force it. That's just how I'm seeing it. But again, however the board falls, if there's a stud receiver there, if there's a stud tight end, if there's another defensive end, if there's offensive lineman that's there that you got a 1st round grade on, whatever, make it happen, right? But I'm just telling you how I envision building this thing the quickest way to having success. If we wanted to emulate what he had, because you got to give him the shit he needs to be successful. And we got some of the pieces already in Washington. Like the receiving core is better than the one he's got right now. Our shit is better. Just gonna tell you how I feel. You know how I feel about our receivers. Our shit is better. If you bring back Curtis Samuel, obviously, our shit is better. So you just got to get the tight end, the running back, and then obviously you got to fix the offensive line. But man, this shit was impressive. Damn, that shit was impressive. And, this defense had been, sort of struggling. And I thought that Trent Green made a great point, or it might have been Kevin Harlan. One of them made a great point. They said, look, a lot of these top-tier teams have struggled this season, right? They've gone through these rough patches. The Ravens had it early in the season. They lost to Indianapolis, lost to Pittsburgh, right? And that was in like a 2-3 week span, right? Where they lost some games that they had no business losing. And they've been hot ever since. But they went through a little patch where you go, come on, Baltimore, what you doing? You can't be losing these type of games. We all saw what San Francisco went through with the 3 straight losses, right? Dallas had a little bit of a stretch early in the season where they, losing to Arizona, where they struggled getting their ass kicked by, San Francisco. There was a little rough patch there for them. Philadelphia's going through their little rough patch right now, right? Kansas City's going through a rough patch right now. So we've seen a lot of the good teams in this league go through this. Detroit just went, and look, remember, this is all brand new for them. This is uncharted territory for them. This ain't what they used to. They're growing into this role of NFC North bully. This is not familiar to them. Their coach is trying to develop this persona. Like, hey, you ain't got to look for us. We knocking on your shit, and when you open the door, we on the front porch. You ain't got to look for us. You know what this is. But they gotta grow into that role of being a bully. So that's what they're doing. And that shit takes time, and it's not gonna happen overnight. But they figuring this shit out. And this defense is good, and they're gonna get better when they get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back. And so, like, their biggest issue right now is they got to get to the quarterback. If it ain't Aiden Hutchinson, who's getting to the quarterback? That's the biggest problem right now, I see. When he's getting to the quarterback, when they're getting pressure on the quarterback, they're problematic. Because now you feel like you saw the pressure that was being applied early, and you saw what happened. Forced fumble, scoop. And let me talk about this for a second, because I was cussing Bugs' ass out. You fat bastard. I was killing him. And I'm sorry, Bugs. I'm sorry. I said some mean shit. Because it was at the beginning of the game. It was 0-0. I picked Detroit. And I had just lost the game prior with Pittsburgh. And so I was on edge. And I said some mean shit. But I meant what I said. I just shouldn't have said it. Because it was mean-spirited. Right? But I called him every name in the book. Because I'm like, you fat mother. You know you ain't scoring from 80 yards away. You got a damn fast-ass safety and Melifonwu behind. Give him the goddamn football. Where the hell you think you going? Fat dudes always want all the goddamn glory. You would have still got credit for being smart enough to say, hey, bro, you got the shit. Ain't no way I'm running 70 yards for this goddamn touchdown. And we already was on an 8-play drive. Yo, you take this shit. You go ahead and have it. I'm going to stay back here. I'm going to pick one of these damn defenders off and let you have it. Bro, where you going? Get a goddamn football up. Too many selfish-ass dudes around here. And Melifano was like, bro, let me have it. Let me have that shit. Nah, I got it. And you know what? And I really was cussing because the damn Lions, Jared Goff got sacked, got out of field goal range, and they had to punt. He doing all of this shit, running with the football after he get tackled. And I'm like, yo, dumbass, get the shit up. It's a goddamn touchdown. Anyway, I digress. you saw what happened when they got pressure early in the game. Forced fumble. Scoop should have been a score if he would have gave it to a faster guy. Hit Russell Wilson's arm, almost picked off by the safety. And that's who they were earlier in the season. They were getting to the quarterback. They were opportunistic. They were picking teams off. That's what they did to Detroit, to Chicago late in the game a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago now, at home late in that game. Aiden Hutchinson gets to him, ball comes out. Like, when they're at their best defensively, they're getting to the quarterback. The first thing they have to do is stop the run, and then they get to the quarterback. That's the only thing I'm not sure they can do consistently at this point. When they do that, they're dangerous defensively because I like the pieces on their defense. And they're going to get better, as I mentioned already, when C.J. Gardner-Johnson comes back. So, man, this is a dangerous Lions team. I can't wait till they play Dallas late in the season in Dallas, because everybody thinks Dallas is invincible at home and they're this, they're that. The Lions played them, I want to say it was last year. Right when they were about to turn their season around, they were still like 1 and maybe 5, and they hadn't figured the shit out yet. And they went to Dallas, and they were right there with Dallas's stinking ass for about 3 quarters, and then the shit just imploded on them. They went for it, I want to say, at Dallas's 1 yard line. It was like 4th and goal. They went for it. They didn't get it, and the game kind of just like fell apart. Or they fumbled. I think they fumbled at the 1 or the 2 yard line, and the game kind of just got away from them after that. Like it just imploded. But they were right there. I think they can go into Dallas and beat their ass, but we'll see. You know, don't discount the Detroit Lions. I'll just say that. Meanwhile, if you're Denver, this was a cute story. You know, them turning their season around. They were 1 and 5. You know, they resurrect their season. They, you know, rose from the ashes, essentially. They gave up 70 points in week 3. We all know, you know, the story behind that, and you know, how embarrassed they were. And everybody was looking at Sean Payton, pointing and laughing because he had all those things to say about Nathaniel Hackett. It was the worst coaching job he had ever seen, yada, yada, yada. Now you go give up 70. You're 0-3. You stink. And the sky felt like it was falling on the Broncos. And somehow, some way, they picked themselves up by the bootstraps. It hasn't been aesthetically pleasing, right? A lot of times the offense is still struggling, but the defense is providing them with opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. That's what they did in the Buffalo game. That's what they did in the Minnesota game. That's what they've been doing this season. When they've been winning, the defense has created turnovers. The offense has taken care of the football, and they've made the most of the opportunities, or at least enough of them to win the football game. Well, no such luck tonight. You didn't create the turnovers. And when you don't create turnovers, this is not the same Denver Broncos, because the offense isn't good enough on its own merit to just go up and down the field and score touchdowns. They're just not. We've seen that already, right? They've got limitations. So I still didn't see the offsides call. Not that I think it would have made a difference, but I mean, that's a big call at that time. I mean, you're fighting an uphill battle, but the last thing you need in that particular spot, down 28-7, is to be kicking a field goal, because first of all, one of them 2 plays was a touchdown. I think the one with McLaughlin catching the football was a touchdown. If they would have slowed it down, looked at it, pieced together a few angles, I think they could have found a way to overturn that and make it a touchdown. I think the second one where Javonte Williams had to carry, first of all, he needs to score on that play. I still don't know how he didn't score easily. Like, that should have even been, when he caught that pitch, who didn't think he was going to walk in the end zone? Even if he endured contact, who didn't think he was going to power through that contact and score? Like, there's no way he wasn't supposed to score on that play. But I think he might have been a little short, right? But to not look at either one of them, come on, Denver. You got to – and they had already burnt the timeout, so I get it. And you know, in a coach's mind, bro, am I going to challenge this? We're at the half-yard line. We should be able to get it in. But that's why when you score a touchdown, you need to take advantage of the touchdown, because I always tell people this. When you're down by more than 3 at the end of a game, you can't choose when you score. When the opportunity presents itself, you got to take it. You can't say, he should have gotten down at the 1 yard line, because that exact scenario played itself out. You get a stupid offsides penalty. I didn't see it. I guess they tried to say his helmet was too. He wasn't across the ball. Like, if anything, you want to call a legal formation, some crazy shit like that, sure. I didn't see offsides though. It didn't appear blatantly obvious to me. I missed that. So whatever. That's why you got to score the touchdown. And if you're not sure and you think you scored, that's why you got to challenge, because you just don't know what's going to happen thereafter. You get the offsides penalty, it moves you back to the 6. Now you got to take the field goal. You can't get nothing here. You got momentum. You've scored on 2 straight possessions. You got to take the field goal. So it's 2 straight possessions and see if your defense can make something happen. Of course they didn't. The Lions went right down the field, scored another touchdown, and pretty much put the game out of reach. But they're not capable of scoring on their own merit offensively. We've seen that. They struggle in that department. So they need the assistance, the aid of the defense to put them in positions with short fields and things of that nature to give them a chance to score. And when they don't get that, they're limited. And they didn't get that tonight, and you saw what happened. And the other thing that happened tonight was the defense they didn't have their fastball. And the Lions took it to them. They started out fast defensively, got off the field, got to golf, made them uncomfortable. The teams exchanged punts, and then obviously you had the fumble by Russell Wilson. But their defense on a sudden change of possession came right out on the field, got the stop, and forced a punt, right? So the defense was playing well early, but eventually the Lions locked in, got it going. And once that avalanche started downhill, it snowballed, and it became like the biggest effing offensive snowball you've ever seen. And the Broncos had absolutely no chance of stopping that thing once it got going downhill. And next thing you know, 5 straight possessions, 5 straight touchdowns, and it's 35-10, right? Damn, just like that. But in any event, Lions are really good. I think the Broncos are about to realize that they're the Broncos. Like, this was cool what we've done and the position we put ourselves in, and you're playing meaningful football in December. What's better than that, right? Especially after you were 1-5. What's better than playing meaningful football in December? I'd kill for that. But I don't think they're good enough. And I think they're about to realize that here down the stretch. Too many good teams in the AFC on the back end for a team like Buffalo or a team like Denver, rather, to sneak in as a wild card. There's just too many good teams like Cincinnati, like Buffalo, Cleveland with Joe Flacco. There's too many teams that are worthy of an opportunity for a team like Denver to get in. And I think that's what's ultimately going to happen. They're now 7-7 on the season. You know what was fantastic about today was there was no garbage team. And obviously they did that because they leave the schedule late in the season. You know, when the schedule comes out, it'll say, 12, 16, or 17, right? Like Saturday or Sunday. You can be flexed to either one, just depends on, what the records are and all that stuff. Everybody was 7-6 or better tonight. You generally don't get that on a Saturday. Somebody usually stinks. But the first 2 games featured 2 7-6 teams, huge playoff implications in both games. And then the nightcap was 7-6 versus 9-4. Well done, NFL, well done. Even though we only got really 1 good game out of the 3, still well done on their part. Anyway, let's get to the comment section, and then we'll get out of here. Juan Gotti talking sports. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes? Puka about to do us in. I hate we got to wait till 4. It could be worse. You could be waiting till Sunday night or Monday night for an ass whooping. It ain't nothing worse. You know what I equate that to? Remember back in the day when you got, a phone call home, that they talked to mom already. And mom, mom's going to be pissed when you get home. It's probably ass whooping waiting for you at the crib. And you sitting on that's the longest bus ride home. You just looking out the window, everybody on the bus playing, and you don't want no parts of that. You just out the window thinking about this ass whooping, right? You get off the bus and it's the longest walk home. And he's just like, man, I don't want to go home, man. They didn't even do nothing. Because you know what's coming, right? That's like what waiting until later on when you know your team's trash and you're going to get your ass whooped. That's what waiting is like. Like, just let me get it out of the way at 1, right? No, got to wait till 4 or 5. That's not as bad, okay? It's not as bad. The worst ones are, hey, we waited till Monday for this shit. We waited till Sunday night for this shit. Those are the worst ones. One guy talking sports. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? T. Higgins. My goodness, is he on his own team in 2024? He could be. I mean, I don't know if Cincinnati's going to pony up and pay him. They may franchise tag him, right? But something's got to give there. They're going to pay Chase. They've already paid Boyd, and he's getting towards the end of that contract if he's not already there. But they paid Burrow already. They paid a bunch of dudes on the defensive side. They spent money on the tackle, Orlando Brown. So I don't know how much money they had left to invest in the receiver position, knowing that they have to pay Jamar Chase. So T. Higgins might be a free man. And look, Mama T ain't trying to hear that shit. Did y'all see his mom on socials? And apparently she always is looking for the smoke. This is my first encounter with Mama T. Y'all don't want to F with her son now. She don't play about her son. She don't play about 5. Okay? There was an exchange between, her and apparently she go after dudes. Like, you come after my son, that's license for me to lay your ass out on social media. And there was an exchange with a these trolls up here. Sometimes they need a little straightening. They need just a little straightening, right? Just a little metal chair to the back of the dome, just a little straightening, right? And so the catch, they were looking at it to see if it was a touchdown, right? And it was. Damn it. I told my wife, God damn, his arms are long as shit, like Stretch Armstrong. This shit just, boom. I'm like, God damn, how much further is the ball going to go? Like, shit. Great presence of mind on that play to stretch it over the goal line after making a tremendous catch. And this is why, as a Washington fan, I told y'all, we need a big receiver. We're missing a big receiver. Because there are things you can do with guys that size that you can't do. Like, it's cool when Terry goes up and body catches it over, Stephon Gilmore against the Colts. But that shit isn't something that you can replicate over and over and over and over again. Like, you got to go up with your hands and snatch that bitch. And it's just easier when the dude has a 6'4" frame. You want to know why Mike Williams is the best in the NFL at doing? Because he's 6'4". Doesn't hurt that he can go up. He's got a great catch radius, and he's comfortable extending away from his frame to go get the football, but he's 6'4". Anyway, the dude said, there ain't no catch, or there ain't no touchdown. T. Higgins been dropping the damn ball all day long. No, he been struggling to catch the damn ball all game long. And she said, your fat ass been struggling to catch your breath all day long. I was like, ma'am. And he did look a little chubby in his little, thumbnail or whatever. I said, damn. Okay. Mom wanted all the smoke. So I had to go, after that, I'm petty. I had to go to her page to see, like, first of all, is this really his mama? And is this what she does all the time? And, oh, yeah. No, mom's wants all the smoke. Don't come for 5. Don't think you're going to come for 5 and there will be no repercussions. Mom is out here checking the list and checking it twice. Anyway, he might be a number 1 for somebody next year. His thing is he's just got to stay healthy. That's his biggest thing. He stays healthy, he's capable of being somebody's number 1. Now, how high end of a 1 is he? I think he's better as a 2, but I think he could be his own man. I think he could. Drew Sosky, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Jake Browning, is playing great. Unfortunately, someone will overpay for him this offseason. You think? really know if that's how I see this ending up. You know what I think will ultimately determine his value? How far this thing goes. If they don't make the playoffs, I can't see him getting anything more than a Taylor Heineke type contract, which he could get in Cincinnati. You know, he can get that in Cincinnati if he wants to stay there. If somebody's giving him an opportunity to start, though, or at least the opportunity to compete, he's got to take that. But he's comfortable in the system where he is. If they're willing to pay him, he knows what his role is going to be. I don't know if you leave a situation where you've been successful, but sometimes you just need an opportunity. He's gotten an opportunity. He's made the most of it, and now he's got to go get paid. You know, and if that's not in Cincinnati, so be it. I loved his presser today. I don't know if you guys saw his presser. I saw a clip of him talking about this game meaning a little bit more because of who they beat. You know, he was cut by the Minnesota Vikings. And he's like, look, man, I've been cut a bunch of times. And, like, I'm not even tripping about that. I get it. It's a business. But he's like, they did me dirt McGirt. Like, they literally told me, we don't know if we're going to cut you or not. Go to the hotel and wait. And he's like, they just left me baking in the hotel for like 3 hours. And then finally my agent calls. They didn't even have the balls to tell me myself. They didn't send somebody over there to say, hey, bro, we're going to go ahead and let you go. None of that shit. Or we're going to bring you back on the practice squad. Nothing. They called his agent, told his agent had to call him and tell him. He was like, bro, of all the times I've been cut, that was the shittiest process ever. Like, they did me dirty. Now, he said, now in their defense, it was a different group. You know, Zimmer was there. Rick Spielman was the GM. It was a different, it's not the group that's there now. So, you know, and he says good people over there, people that I'm still got relationships with. So I don't want to make it out to seem like this is all indictment on the entire Minnesota Vikings organization. It was the people that were there before, but still, I hold a grudge. I'm human. And so that shit felt good. And he had told the media earlier in the week, nah, I'm not making a big deal about the fact that they cut me. It's just another game. He did the, you know, status quo thing. And then he admitted, nah, I lied to y'all earlier in the week. Nah, this shit meant more to me. But I couldn't tell y'all that earlier in the week. What if I came out here and I lost? Which he should have lost if Nick Mullins doesn't throw 2 picks and they can't get a yard on 3rd and 1 and then 4th and 1. Yeah, they should have lost the game. So he's like, I can't come out here and be talking shit during the week and then we lose. I look like a dumbass. So no, I had to wait until we won. Now I can talk my shit. Yeah, this shit meant more. F the Vikings. I love it. Love it a lot. We'll see, Drew. I don't know. That's interesting. I think what it will ultimately determine his value is what happens the remainder of the season. If they go on to make the playoffs and he wins a playoff game, yeah, he could end up on another team. He continues to play at the level he's playing at. He could end up on another squad. If they miss the playoffs or they get there and then they get their doors blown off when they get there, he might be just still viewed as a backup. And somebody will pay him, though. Somebody will give him good money. What he's effectively done, and I said the same thing about Taylor Heineke, is you've effectively established yourself as a real NFL quarterback. Whether that's in a backup commodity or as a fringe starter or a bridge guy, whatever, you've established yourself as an NFL quarterback that other teams can call on, whether you play for 6 teams over 12 years or you play for 3 teams over 9 years. You've established yourself as a dude that can be on an NFL roster for the next 7 to 10 years. That's what you've done effectively by making this run here. So good for him. DJ23. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, F the Steelers, cost me money, never again, they bad. Yeah, it'd be like that when you lose money. I would have never put money on them. Not with the way they've looked this season. Even if they would have been 9-3 going into the game tonight or 9-4, I wouldn't have put any money on them. Their lack of offensive production is too volatile to be relying on them, because at some point you're going to run out of those defensive touchdowns and those block punts and all of those things that you've been relying on special teams wise this season. You're going to run out of them shit. That's not sustainable. You understand? At some point, your offense is going to have to score, or you're going to have to keep doing that shit on defense and special teams, and it's just not sustainable. And their offense hasn't shown enough life for you to feel like, oh, okay, yeah, they about to turn it up on offense, so they're not going to need those defensive touchdowns. They're not going to need those block punts and all of that crazy shit on special teams no more. You were tripping putting money on them. Jonathan Hankey, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Jonathan. First of all, I'm happy for you, Jonathan, man. I'm happy for you because there was some tough years there, man. Watching, this shit crumble without Andrew Luck and watching this shit go sideways. There was a little bit of fun there with Phillip Rivers that one year, and then it kind of just went to shit after that. And, Wentz was tough at the end, and then last year was brutal. And it's good. It's good to hear you happy again, man. He says, man, Lou, I'm living good right now. I bet you are. Love Shane Steichen and so glad he's our head coach. I think he's doing a phenomenal job. Coach of the year question. I don't think he's going to win. I think there'll be other candidates. I don't know how he's not in the discussion, though. But, if my guess is like Dan Campbell would be coach of the year. If the Lions can end up being, winning, which they're going to win their division, they win 12, 13 games, whatever. It's got to be Dan Campbell, right? I mean, people saw the Lions coming, but for them to do what they did this season, they broke so many records, so many things that they've done for the first time since 1950 something. This will be the first time they've won the NFC North ever. Right? They haven't won this division since it was called the NFC Central, okay? Back in 91. They've never won the NFC North, okay? So a lot of firsts. Campbell's been outstanding. You probably got to give it to him this year if I were a betting man. But Steichen has done a hell of a job. Same with the Texans head coach, DeMeco Ryans. I mean, there's a lot of teams. I said already that Kevin O'Connell has done a fantastic job with the hand he's been dealt this season. You can say the same thing for Zach Taylor, even though they've been successful. No Joe Burrow should equal no playoffs, no chance. Here they are. Same thing could be said probably in Cleveland. They've gone through 87 quarterbacks as well, and look at them. And so Steichen has done a fantastic job. I think he deserves a lot of credit. And again, unlike all the coaches I just named, outside of probably DeMeco Ryans, these are teams that are roster-wise are loaded, really talented, been there, done that, have playoff success, etc. Not the Colts, not that roster, right? Not the Texans, not that roster. So I think he should be really in the heart of that discussion, but I don't think he'll win it. He said, I think so, in my opinion. Also, we finally beat the Steelers after 8 long years, LOL. I didn't realize it'd been that long. And I hate seeing lists like that when my name is on it. The Commanders haven't beaten the Chiefs in 8 straight games, I think it was. You guys hadn't beaten the Steelers in 8 straight games. There were like 2 teams above that were like 12 and 10 straight losses or whatever. That sucks. I hate seeing, my favorite team on that list, on the wrong side of that list. But you got yours ended. I don't know when our shit's going to end against Kansas City. But good for you, man. This is fun. I still don't think you're making the playoffs. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. But, hey, I told you, I don't like to kill anybody's dreams, man. Keep having this crazy season that you're having. It's fun. Enjoy it. Hopefully it takes you a lot further than you ever dreamed. This is a hell of a ride right now. Anyway, I'll take a couple comments. I'm not going to take too many because obviously this one was going to run a little bit longer just based off of having 3 games to talk about. So I'll just take a couple comments and get out of here. Wild Guy Talking Sports says, "Sup, Lou? It continues to be a shame as we watch 2 to 3 NFC wildcard spots be up for grabs, and we could have easily been in the mix, but that sucks. We're not, and that sucks." And we talked about it. Me and you talked about that in particular. It wouldn't have taken much. Just 2 more wins this season, and we've had opportunities. the 2 Eagles games, the Seahawks game, the 2 Giants games. Like, all you had to do was win the Bears game, even though we got blown out. You needed to beat and again, you're not allowed. You lose to the Giants, and you can't go to the playoffs doing that shit, man. Just like I feel like with the Steelers, you can't lose to Arizona and New England and go to the playoffs. You do that, and you deserve what you get, right? But I told you before the season started, this is why I was so confident. Like, we're going to make the playoffs. Why? Because look at the NFC. There's nobody here. And I said that. I was like, it's a ghost town. Like, you yell out, hey, hey, hey. Is anybody here? Here. It's like you can hear your own echo. There's nobody here. It's literally Dallas, Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Detroit. And then everything else is fair game. That's 4 teams. It's 7 spots. Just grab one. And we can't, and we not even, and the part is, we're not even in the mix, bro. The Giants at 5-8 are in the mix, bro. They play the Rams. They play the Saints this week. They win those 2 games. They are right smack dab in the middle of this thing. Now, they're not going to beat Philadelphia, but still, and they're not going to beat the Saints tomorrow or today. But still, the fact that they're even playing meaningful games in December, I don't envy them. I don't want to be them, but it's just crazy. All I was trying to do there was illustrate the point that it didn't take much this year in the NFC. And I knew that before the season. I told y'all that before the season. I just didn't think we would be in the position that we're in right now at 4-9. I just didn't think that's what our season would come to. It's crazy, but we're here. While Guy Talking Sports Fights, it feels like Hussey and crew are being forced on me. I can't escape him. He calls every game, it feels like. And I don't have a John Hussey problem. I have a ladies man junior problem, Adrian Hill. Keep him away from me. Like, I see him, it's on site. I see Adrian Hill, it's on site. And he's already done a game today. So I think he did the Colts game. Keep him out of my damn face. HTTR Carson writes, of the teams that play today, I believe Detroit and Cincinnati have any business playing bonus football. Only have any business playing bonus football. Those are the only 2 teams. And I think I concur with that. I concur that statement. I don't think any of the other teams will make it, to be honest with you. I think those are the 2 teams that will make it of the teams that play today. You're absolutely right. I'm with you on that. Buffalo pregame, right? Good day for the Bills. It would have been nice if the Vikings could have pulled it off. Yeah, because you lost to Cincinnati, but that you don't have to have Cincinnati's spot. You can take Indianapolis' spot, right? The Texans are going to fall off here. Case Keenum is capable of winning on the road at Tennessee, but they should lose that game, right? You just take care of business and everything will take care of itself. Just win. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. If you win, you're going to be in. That's all you need to be concerned with. Win football games. Don't play the game of worrying about what this team is doing. That just win. And trust me, I guarantee it. You win, you'll get in. You win and you'll get in. Steel City. I was looking forward to hearing from you. No need for a Tomlin rant today, Lou. Frustrating season, but it is what it is. I've already somewhat done it for you. Don't worry. I knew how you were feeling, and you were the first person I thought of when he elected to punt that football. I was like, yeah. Christian McCoy writes, JB6 looking like JB9. Taylor is a very underrated coach. Houday. Stay awesome, Louie. It's always good to hear from you, Christian. It's been a while, but always good to hear from you. Hey, Zach was this close to being fired, man. That close. If that 3rd season didn't work out the way that it did, where they went all the way to the Super Bowl, there's a good chance if they don't make the playoffs, or if they get, like, the Raiders went in there and they were, 12 yards or so away from potentially tying that game. I think they would have needed a 2-point conversion as well. But if the Raiders somehow pull that win off, and remember, that game seems so far ago now. Like, but remember, the Bengals were partying like they had lost their mind because they hadn't won a playoff game since like 1990. It's like one of the longest droughts in the NFL at that time. So they were just happy and content with beating the Raiders. They didn't expect to go to Tennessee, win, and then after that go to Kansas City and beat the Chiefs, right? So had they just lost to the Raiders in Wild Card Weekend, I guess he would have been back. But had they not made the playoffs, he probably would have got fired. He was this close to getting fired. But he's settled in, and he's doing a hell of a job. One hell of a job. And you're not wrong. The offense looks good. He's not Joe Burrow. And I don't think that's what you're saying. But there hasn't been this precipitous drop-off that we all expected. That's actually surprising to me. I'm going to be honest. Niners fan, right? Shane Steichen is him. I loved him in Philadelphia. You know what's crazy is I didn't think he was that good with the Chargers. Didn't think he was that good at all. But sometimes your first opportunity, you're just learning the ropes. You're kind of figuring things out. And it's that next opportunity that you get where you finally settle in. And I thought he did that with Philadelphia. And you're seeing a guy that is maturing right before our very eyes, and that's figured it out. And I think he's created a niche for himself. And, man, he's coaching his ass off. I've been impressed, thoroughly impressed with Shane Steichen. Niners fan, right? KOC is awesome. But those third, fourth, and inches calls with the smallest guy on the field pushing Mullins were suspect. Yeah, a lot of teams, they just don't get the brotherly shove correct. First of all, hey, I don't need you to try deception on this. If you know you're running it, and the other team can know you're running it too, just put your big-ass dudes back there. First of all, like Nick Mullins is not a big guy to begin with, right? So I think that's where you're wrong first and foremost. Maybe you need a bigger quarterback in there. Maybe you need to take a different player. Maybe that should be a running back. I don't want a tight end back there, right? Because I don't want somebody that's tall as shit trying to get low. Low man wins in those. I don't want a 6'6" guy taking the snap because that's how you get stood up and you get stopped. But maybe you need a running back. Maybe you put somebody else that's a little bit more physically imposing back there. But then, like you said, like I think they had one of the small receivers pushing him, like Powell or the rookie from USC. Like, what are we doing here? Where are your two tight ends? Where's the eligible tackle that's pushing him? What are we doing? We're trying to win the game here. Yeah, I'm with you on that. KOC is awesome. Everybody from that Shanahan tree, that McVay tree is just stupid. You can't go wrong. The shit is timeless. It's been tried. It's a tried and true method. John Wynn says, since Vikings lost tonight against the Bengals, does Seattle have a shot at taking over the NFC wildcard playoff spot if we beat the Eagles on this Monday night? I'm not sure about that. My guess would be yes. But again, they would probably look at record with common opponents, because I don't think the Vikings and the Seahawks have played each other this year. I could be wrong, and they did play each other, but they would go to common opponents, right? I think that's what they go to first, and then like conference record after that. So it'd be one of those tiebreakers. Just win the game. I don't worry about all of that stuff. Is Geno Smith playing? That's going to determine if you have a shot or not. I think whether he plays or not, you're going to lose, but you definitely don't have a shot with Drew Lock. Just keeping it above. If it ain't Geno, it's a no-go. one guy talking sports says, he said Kevin hairline. I'm gonna assume that your phone made that change. You know, autocorrect is a sumbitch. Kevin Harlan can do it all, but every time I listen to him, it feels like I should be watching NBA on TNT. You like Kevin NFL or NBA more? He's an NBA guy, but he can do it all. Like you said, I love Kevin. I just love his voice. I think he's super talented and can do anything, right? But right between the eyes, that's Kevin Harlan in his element, right? You know, he's a flamethrower. That's Kevin Harlan. But he can do it all. John Wynn, I think like 2 more and we'll get out of here. John Wynn, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Or John Wynn, right, excuse me. Also, the confusing question, the Philadelphia Eagles supposed to be 3rd or 2nd place in the NFC division leader, but they're in the playoff picture. Why the Eagles in 5th place while they're 10-3? Because Dallas is also 10-3, and currently Dallas has a better record in the division because I think they've played more division games than Philadelphia. They've played their 2 with Philadelphia. They've played their 2 with the Giants, and they've beaten Washington already. So they're 4-1 in the division with their lone loss coming to Philadelphia. Meanwhile, the Eagles haven't played the Giants yet at all. So they still got 2 more games where Dallas only has 1. So by virtue of that, the Cowboys have the better division record. So they right now are, if the Eagles win out, they're the division winners. So that's why I said don't pay attention to any of that stuff. Just win football games. Okay, just win football games. I always tell people, let the losers worry about losing. Like, if you're winning games, none of this shit's going to matter. Like, if you're Buffalo, I know you need a lot of shit. Don't worry about it because the shit's going to happen. Teams are going to lose. Just win. And it'll all take care of itself. If you're Seattle, just win. Nobody else in the conference at the back end of this conference, Green Bay, the Rams, the Vikings, the Saints, the Bucks, none of these teams are any good. Just win. It'll take care of itself. Just win. Mike Jink, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, we were 12-0 against the Jets until this year. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize that y'all had a streak like that until the actual game. And that didn't factor into me picking y'all as my survivor pick that week and getting eliminated. I just didn't think y'all would lose to Zach Wilson. I didn't want to pick y'all either. I wanted to go in a different direction, and I should have. Everybody picked Detroit the week prior, and I went Miami. I should have went with Detroit with everybody else, and then I would have had Miami at my disposal that next week when I got eliminated. Who knows what would have happened, but I can't beat myself up over that. Y'all shouldn't have lost to the Jets, and you did. So it was my time to go, I guess. Samuel Brito. Ben Johnson, please come coach us. I need it, man. At this point, I'm begging. Baby, I'm begging, baby, I'm begging, begging, begging. Baby, I'm begging, baby, I'm begging, begging, begging. Come on, Ben. Hassan Moore says, Sam Laporta, 28 fantasy points. He is a dog. And we in the playoffs now. If you're in a fantasy league, this is playoff time. You got Sam Laporta. Damn, life is good. You might have won your shit just off the strength of Sam, and we didn't even get to Sunday yet. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louis T. Greatly appreciate you guys kicking it with the kid on this Saturday evening. I enjoyed the football today. The first game was excellent. Got the weekend started off, the right way. The other 2 got away from, the opponents, the road teams. All home teams took care of business, which is, I think, going to be a theme of Week 15. I only see about 3 or 4 road teams winning this week. I think the home teams are going to dominate, and that's kind of how I set my sheet up I thought Pittsburgh could get it done, but clearly they didn't. But Thursday night football, the home team prevailed there, obviously. All Saturday games, all 3 home teams. I only see like 3 or 4 home teams. I think I can call them off the top of my dome. Now, clearly, there are going to be some games that are coin flip games, Texans and Tennessee, games like that. New Orleans and the Giants, it could go either way, but I expect the home teams to win those games. I only see like 3 or 4 teams. The Eagles beating the Seahawks on Monday Night Football. I think the Ravens are on the road against the Jaguars. I think. Don't quote me on that. If they are, that's another one. The 49ers are on the road at Arizona. I expect them to win that game. And I think there's one more. Kansas City's on the road at New England, if I'm not mistaken. Expect them to take care of business. There may be one more in there, but that's pretty much it. Like, I expect the home teams to take care of business this week. And I think this is a pretty easy week. I really do. Like 13-3 is what I'm shooting for. Didn't expect to lose this game with the Steelers, but such is life. I still expect 13-3. So anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louis T. I thank you guys for joining me. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. It's only a few hours away. It's already tomorrow on the East Coast. For some of you, it is only a couple of hours away. But be back like cook crack. Whether you're a Commanders fan or you're just a fan of football like myself, we'll be back to break it all down. And I'll see you guys then. Until then, enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good one. God bless and good night.